Hello girls, a very good morning to you all. So in our last video, we spoke about the introduction on Middle Ages. Hope you all had a look on the video and it's pretty much simple for you to understand. So let's recollect few of the points from our last video. So we spoke about the Middle Ages, middle adulthood, when it begins, why much importance was not given to the middle adulthood during earlier times, and it is not prioritized even today. But then only after 20th century, when the term middle adulthood was coined in Europe and the US, later the emphasis and interest emerged among people and the masses about this period of human lifespan, that is middle adulthood, that we are talking about. And we looked into the scenario of people, what they believe, what Indians think about middle adulthood, what the people from Kenya think about middle adulthood, and how few of the people from Japan and also certain part of India believe adulthood as middle adulthood basically as something of a social relationship factor rather than the chronological or biological changes that takes place. So we had a look on these elements initially, and then we also looked at the point which is very much important for strengthening of studies on this topic. So it is the advancement in medical science, the nutrition, and these things give much emphasis on why middle adulthood is important. So basically we looked into a very understanding of the middle adulthood, that is the definition which calls out that people who have reached their middle ages either have grown up children or they live with their elderly parents. But this is not true, completely true for today's society, where people even in the middle adulthood might not have their grown up children, they are still raising their children. This might be one possibility, or completely a different choice of not having any kids. Maybe their parents are living separately, or they might be just well-to-do and they may be not they are that old, in fact, as per the definition of today's time. So it's completely a change scenario, change understanding of middle adulthood when we look into today's concept. So now let's focus on which is very much important, that is the physical changes that takes place during the middle adulthood. So without much delay, and let's begin the sensory and the psychomotor functioning. Physical changes, that is sensory and psychomotor functioning from young adulthood to middle age years. Sensory and psychomotor changes are gradual and small until the day. So we all know that the changes in our sensory system and the psychomotor functioning takes place in a very slow manner when we reach the adulthood. So the time period is, the young adulthood is from 20 to 40 years. We have 20 years in our hands, and the changes in us is very short, and it's very slower. It's very it is on a very lighter pace than that we see during the adolescence. Adolescence just you can't make out when you're grown up once you reach the adolescence, whereas the adulthood, the journey from young adulthood to the middle adulthood is quite little longer when compared to the adolescence. That's what we want to clarify here. And there are a few points that I have jotted down, so you can make out that 45 years old man realizes that he cannot read telephone directory without eyeglasses. So it's very clear, as we reach our age of 45, we believe that we need some additional supporting aids, sensory aids, to fulfill our requirements, that we are no more young. We understand that we need some supplementary aids to help us find out, help us to read things, or we need external supports so that we can carry out our day-to-day functioning without much hindrance. And it's always recommended once you're 30, you can just go and have your eye check so that you can avoid the short-sightedness or nearsightedness. So these vision problems that appear too early in our life. So with today's generation, it's really very important. So you can see many kids with the spectacles even by the age 5, 6. So it's crucial nowadays. So let's look into the next point, that a 60-year-old woman finds that she isn't quick anymore. So this is when you understand that you are grown old. You can't be energetic as you used to be earlier. So this changes makes you realize that you're grown old. But then these are the physical symptoms that you can see in your day-to-day life, day-to-day living. So this makes you feel that no, this is not something that right. I wasn't like this. So you also could see people who forget things. There are many people around you who might have very good memory though. But then as we age, you could see people losing memory. They couldn't find things in the places where they used to be because they themselves have put the things in some other place and then completely forget about that. So it's natural. So with ages, we lose on our memories. And let's now stick on to the visual problems that takes place during the middle adulthood. That there are 5 areas. So age-related visual problems are 5, and they are near vision, dynamic vision, that is reading moving signs and sensitive to light, visual search and speed of processing visual information. So these are the areas that we will look into when it comes to the problem with the vision that takes place during our middle adulthood. So you could see that I have jotted a point, that facts about visual problems. So basically, because of the changes in the pupil of eye, middle-aged people may need about 1/3 more brightness to compensate for the loss of light reaching the retina. So with the age, your retina doesn't work accurately as it works during this point of time in your life. So you would require 1/3 more brightness to compensate that loss light that is reaching retina. So this is one of the fact that we have to look into, why our vision is impaired during our middle adulthood. So you could see that because the lens of the eye becomes progressively less flexible, the ability to shift the focus diminishes. So it's because of our eye lens aren't working in accurate manner. So we have to depend on the visual aids, like you need to be able to wear your spectacles or lens. So this usually starts in the early middle ages and becomes evident by the age we reach 60. So these are just the facts about the vision problems. So now moving back to why and what are the visual problems that we are going to see during our middle ages. So we could focus on by the age 40 plus, that is just when we reach age 40 and above, we require reading glasses for presbyopia. So you could see that the presbyopia, the PRES stands for with age. It's just a synonym for aging, and myopia is impairment where lessened ability to focus on the near object. So myopia is a impairment in the vision basically. So you all have heard of myopia, nearsightedness, or most popularly termed as what we call it as short-sightedness in our day-to-day language. So myopia is also termed as nearsightedness. So we have myopia, presbyopia, which is lessening ability to focus on near object due to aging. So here you lose the sight, the vision, the proper functioning of your eye only because you're aging. This is the age-related factor that makes you lose your vision. So myopia is nearsightedness or short-sightedness. Then we look into a bifocal or trifocal eyeglasses. So this eyeglasses, that is lens with reading plus distant vision. So you are provided with both the solution for both the impairments, that people when they age, they cannot read the smaller alphabets or letters, the newspapers, magazines. They require additional helping aid, that is the spectacles or lens. And then especially in the spectacles, you have a reading and distant vision. The two things are made available in one particular spectacle. If you're not able to see the smaller very minute alphabets as well as distant things, so this is how it's helpful. So next, moving on to the hearing loss, that is the second thing that happens during a middle ages. Gradual hearing noise, noticed in early life, speeds up in 50s. So basically it's called as presbycusis, wherein pres again here stands for with ages. So as you age, this kind of problems starts growing. By middle age, 1/4 of that is 1 in 4 people has hearing loss. So as we age, it usually begins in the early ages, but then as we reach 50, it speeds up. So you could see many of the people who have crossed 60, 70, you need to speak to them in a very loud voice so that they can be able to hear you. So it's natural, you get pissed up easily saying that I don't want to talk to my grandma, I don't want to talk to my grandfather. So it's natural. So we lose our hearing ability. So you could see the statistics says that 1 in 4 people has the hearing loss by middle age. So it's quick in men than women. So men are at more risk than women. So we girls we can relax a bit when compared to men. So by 45 to 64 years old, hazel this problem due to noise at work or earphones. So most probably in our generation, hearing loss could be because of the earphones and the noise pollution in general. When we are out, you could see more horns, honking everywhere. So for our generation, it is basically because of this. And you could see this hearing problem among people who work in the factories. So they too have a hearing problem because of the loud noises, the continuous churning of machines. So this is all due to that. And you can avoid this. There are also precautionary measures for this, that is using earplugs. You can use earplugs to protect your eardrums from losing its hearing ability. So basically we only covered about the vision problems as well as the hearing problem during the middle adulthood. We'll be looking into many more factors that comes under this, that is we'll be talking about this taste sensitivity, how it gets hampered during the middle ages in our next session. Thank you.